Do you like raging? What about throwing your enemies? Do you like doing CC and running through your enemies like a chugga 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 choo choo train? Then I got the perfect build for you. Hey everybody, I'm Ronan and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really happy to present my train build, aka the Juggernaut. I want to say thank you. This comment that you see here on screen here is what inspired the idea for this build. And I did actually have a community tab post where you could vote to see what builds you wanted to see next, and this one won, so here we are. Comment down below any requests you want to see next. I will have another community post, that way you can vote on what you want to see after this one. The idea for this build is essentially taking the idea of being a train, something that is extremely defensive but can do a really great CC and help out its team while doing really good damage when needed. The whole concept is, if you think about the Juggernaut from X-Men, he's that big brawly guy. He can just like bust through walls and things like that. When you think about that in Baldur's Gate 3, the Wildheart Barbarian, specifically with the Elk, has that cool ability to charge through your enemies and knock them prone. So how could we take that idea, knocking your enemies prone, and enhance it, make it stronger while giving you even more offense and defense at the same time? I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe if you're new. And if you want to become a member like Suicide Squash here on screen to receive shoutouts in my videos and additional perks during my live streams, definitely hit join down below. Suicide Squash, I really appreciate you becoming a member. Let's go ahead and break this video down. This build consists of multi-classing 4 levels into Barbarian and 8 levels into Fighter. Starting out, I would recommend you go at least 5 levels into Barbarian to get extra attack early on. And once you are able to respec later on at level 9, then respec 4 levels into Barbarian and 5 levels into Fighter. My starting stats are on screen now. You do not need to utilize that hag hair for this build whatsoever. I have 17 strength, 13 dex, 16 constitution, 8 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and 8 charisma. The reason for the 13 in the dexterity and 17 in the strength is because with certain feats, these will get increased later on and have additional benefits. Skill proficiency wise, choose whatever you like, though I would recommend perception if you are able to get it. The concept of this build is to go the 4 levels into Barbarian for Rage Elkhart. This will increase your movement by 15 feet. You also gain Primal Stampede, an ability that counts as an attack, so you can use this and attack with your weapon afterwards, or throw a weapon or throw an enemy, or you can attack first and then use Primal Stampede afterwards, and if you really wanted to, you can Primal Stampede back to back. Because this knocks enemies prone, the chance for your allies to hit within 10 feet of the enemy goes up substantially, and when combined with gear, you will have a great way to add even more debuffs on your enemy as well. The reason you want to multi-class with Fighter is in order to gain an additional feat. Fighters gain an extra feat at level 6, which is really great and can be used for a bunch of different things. You gain Second Wind, which is a scaling bonus action to heal yourself, which scales with the amount of levels in Fighter. You gain Action Surge, which will also give you an extra action you can use once for short rest. You gain Fighting Styles as well. If you want to be a little bit more supportive, you can go Protection, though I wouldn't recommend it. I would say go Dueling if you plan to use any type of sword and board, which I do recommend in this video. And this is great when using clothing. If you plan to use any type of armor like medium armor, you can go Defense to get extra AC. You will need to choose a subclass once you get to Fighter level 3. I would recommend Champion, as this will give you increased crit chance. Also at level 7 Champion, you gain increased jump distance, as well as some additional proficiencies you did not have before. This build consists of 4 feats. Feat number 1 will be Tavern Brawler. This will allow your Stampede ability to gain additional hit chance equal to your strength modifier. This will also affect your hit chance for thrown weapons and enemies, and affect the damage for thrown weapons and enemies. Athlete will be your second feat. This will increase your dexterity by +1, giving you another modifier. This will increase your jump distance by 50%, which is significant because this stacks with all the other jump increasing type of modifiers that you have, which is really, really nice. Ability Improvement is going to be your third feat to get your strength to 20. Combine this with the potion you see on screen now, and you will get to 22 strength. Your fourth and final feat will be whatever you want. If you don't know what to choose, simply go Ability Improvement and pick any type of ability score you want to increase. or you can go alert if you want even more initiative, or lucky as well is my other recommendation, but the 4th feat is going to be up to you on what you want to pick. Alright ladies and gentlemen, for gear, I do want to state, gear is subjective, so pick whatever you think is going to be useful, but here is my take on what I think you should use. Starting out, look at my strength modifier. I have a +5. We're going to up this to 22 strength by using the Potion of Everlasting Vigor. You get this inside Act 2, Memorize Towers, just have Asterion bite a Raj inside that tower. Now when it comes to my initiative, I think initiative is very important for honor mode. You can see I have 11 initiative as this build. I almost always go first. A lot of this comes from gear stacking. You get +3 from the Sentinel Shield, which also gives you advantage on perception checks. You get +3 from the Hellrider Longbow, and you get +2 from the mask you see on screen now, but this also gives me additional benefits for my attack rolls and perception as well. So my perception is really high and my initiative is really high, which is really solid. Now, you are a fighter / barbarian combo here. Fighters get an additional feat at level 6, so this build has 4 feats in total. You can bump this initiative up even higher if you were to take the alert feat. You are very tanky with this build. You are using a shield, so you have higher AC. I like using the Bone Spike Garb in combination with the Flesh Melter's Cloak. This is really nice because as a barbarian, you already take reduced damage for melee attacks while raging. Well, anytime you get hit with a melee attack, you will retaliate. Not only will you do 1d4 acidic damage every single time you get hit in melee without a reaction, you also do piercing damage to the enemy as well, not to take into account that you also have all incoming damage reduced by 2 and you gain extra HP whenever you rage. The extra piercing damage is affected by your Constitution modifier. When you get to Act 3 and get the Amulet of Greater Health, you can see my HP goes up to 153. And then the modifier for this actually goes up to 6. So once you get that necklace, you will actually have 6 extra damage every single hit on top of the extra D4 acid as well. And this is all without a reaction. You will do a ton of passive damage. You don't want your AC super high as this build because you do want to get hit in order to retaliate at the enemy, but you also don't want it too low to where you get hit every single turn. I think 21 AC is a great balance between that. Of course, before you get the Amulet of Greater Health, you can use whatever type of necklace you would like. I am a big fan of the amulet you see on screen now, just to automatically choose when I want to paralyze an enemy. A great way is to combo that with the Luck of the Far Realms Illithid power here. Other cloaks you could use if you want even more defense would be the Cloak of Protection or Cloak of Displacement, and if you want some reverberation interactions, you can use the Thunderskin Cloak. Speaking of reverberation, the Boots of Stormy Clamor, an item you get inside Act 1, is really fantastic. Whenever you inflict a condition upon the enemy, you get a stacking debuff, Reverberation, -1 to Strength, Dex, and Constitution, which does stack. At 5 or more stacks, they take thunder damage and can possibly fall prone. You will be debuffing the enemy like crazy with this build. Because you do have Tavern Brawler as a feat and you have high strength, not only can you throw majority of the enemies in the game and knock them prone that way, you can also knock them prone via Primal Stampede. This is really nice because this is affected by Tavern Brawler for its hit chance, not the damage, but its hit chance. But this is affected by your strength modifier as well. But it gets even better. You have these Sparkle Hands, and I have to say thank you to this comment you see on screen now. These Sparkle Hands are really fantastic. It doesn't say it, but these are affected by thrown weapons, and it will affect Primal Stampede, stacking up a lot of lightning charges. Now here's where the build kind of comes together, and that's with the weapons. There are going to be quite a few weapons you can use while leveling up. My go-to is actually going to be the Alluve you see right here. Alluve, I'm not sure how to say it, but this longsword that you get inside Act 1 in the Underdark is really strong. You have the Melody ability you can use once per short rest, and you will almost always use Shriek, which is nice because this counts as a debuff, thus giving the enemy reverberation, but it also does additional damage. So whenever allies or you attack enemies within the range of this, they will do and you will do additional thunder damage, which is really, really nice. Here's where it gets even better. The legendary weapon that you see on screen now, the legendary trident, you can throw this and it will automatically come back to your character in combat and it will auto-equip. So it's a great way, once the debuff or your longsword here is about to expire, you can throw your trident at the enemy doing big time damage and have it auto-equip afterwards. This is nice because normally switching weapons requires an action, and this is a great way to kind of work around that. Rings, I would say the Ring of Free Action is the only ring I would 100% recommend at all times. You ignore difficult terrain and can't be paralyzed or restrained. This is really nice because you want as much movement as you can with Primal Stampede in order to knock as many enemies prone as possible. Another solid ring to use is the Crusher's Ring, giving you even more movement. Of course, when you do Enrage though, you get plus 15 movement regardless for being an Elkhart. So your movement is quite high and your jump distance is really high as well. I have 63 feet for jump distance. You could also use Caustic Band if you want a little bit of acid damage when you attack with your actual melee weapons or your trident. And of course, if you want crit stacking, you could use the Deadshot Bow instead of the Hellrider Bow. And if you want even more defense, you could go with the Sled Board instead of the other shield we talked about. This will give you Force Conduit, which just reduces the amount of melee damage you take stacking. And once you get to 5 or more stacks, you do AoE force damage. Really, really powerful. Now, there are some type of Illithid powers I would like to recommend here. Naturally, you want Luck of the Far Realms here. Getting the automatic crit when you want is really solid. Coming all the way down, I like Call of the Week. This is a great way to do additional AoE damage, and you can toggle this on and off, which is really fantastic. I also like using your health here, Transfuse Health. Because you have so much HP as a Barbarian, I can give health to my teammates. Even more so once I get the Amulet of Greater Health. I could use this, sacrifice half my HP, and I would still be at a good amount of HP. And of course, for being a fighter, you can heal with Second Wind as well. Alright, let's go ahead and show off combat now. I'm going to start out here by using my Melody, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Shriek. I'm going to enter combat, that way I can get my 5 turns of Shriek right away. And let's go ahead and just open up on the enemy here. It doesn't matter how you open, as long as you open up. Alright, so you can see from my Shriek, I already had this character in front of me get 2 turns of Reverberation. The Shriek is a debuff, so this is affected by the boots we talked about earlier. So now that it's my turn, I'm going to go ahead and Rage. You can see I get the extra HP here, and I'm just going to let them come to me, and I'll end my turn. You can see I did extra damage to the enemy, 6 piercing from my chest piece, and the 4 from my cloak. Let's go ahead and try to knock him down. It failed, unfortunate. And you can see, I only took 1 damage from there, and he took 10 damage. That's pretty strong. Now that it's my turn, we're going to go ahead and charge over here. I don't like that ranger in the back, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to charge forward. And you can see, all these guys were hit. Only one of them was not prone, unfortunately, besides the archer down here. But I did end up putting some debuffs on the enemies. Now what I can do on my turn, because this counts as a weapon action, so it's affected by extra attack, I can now pick up this enemy and throw him at someone else like this character in front of me. Which I think is just hilarious. And it said critical miss, which is a little unfortunate, especially since I do have Tavern Brawler, but it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and Action Surge here. I'm going to go ahead and Primal Stampede forward again. right to these guys here. This is why movement is important, because it is affected by movement. The less movement you have, the less area you can go. So right here, I can't actually go any further, which is a little unfortunate. So instead, let's go ahead and just throw this target here, back at this enemy down there. You can see I did some good damage there. Move a little bit farther forward. And you can see I still can't go as far as I want, but I can still charge forward if I want, get these guys in range of the shrieks. And you can see all the lightning charges that you also will stack as well. Now, I could attack again, I could heal myself, whatever I needed to do. So we'll just go ahead and pummel. And I just crit her for a lot of damage. I did not mean to actually kill her. It is what it is. Now you can see I actually did a little bit of lightning damage to him as well when the retaliation. Alright, so now that it's my turn, you can see I'm at 145 HP. Look at all the extra damage these guys are taking just from me charging and them attacking. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and charge forward. I'm going to charge all the way back here, trying to hit as many enemies as I can. They were all knocked prone. I'm going to go ahead and jump up top here. And you can see my jump distance is 63 feet with this build. I can jump super far. I'm going to jump up top. And now I'm going to showcase what I talked about earlier with the weapon. So I'm going to go ahead and throw. I can now throw the weapon down at these guys and really do some good damage. And you can see it does the AoE damage and it automatically gets equipped in my hand now. So I was knocked prone, but because I have athlete, it only takes 50% or less than 50% of my movement to go ahead and come back up. I'm going to go ahead and throw these guys. We have such high strength here that most of the time you should pass your athletics checks. So let's go ahead and try to throw her somewhere back down here. You can see a little bit of the extra damage I did. She's not prone. We'll take this guy and we'll throw him down at our friend. And the only guy left now is this archer that's up there. But have no worry, I can jump really far. And now on my next turn, or if I had action surge, I can fight him. So he is in a really annoying position. I don't like that he's in there. I was hoping to throw him off the edge, but I can now, instead of charging, simply throw my weapon at him if I wanted. Or I could walk forward and just attack him with melee. Or we could be really fun, pick him up and throw him back out here. Just do a little bit of extra damage. And then we could throw him again all the way down there. And that is how you play the build, guys. It's like a mix of being a tavern brawler that you use for throwing. You get to throw enemies, you get to throw weapons in combination of debuffs. I didn't even talk about the specific weapons for here. The legendary trident is its own unique flash ability. It's similar to the charge, except it applies bleeding to the enemies. And it has a knockback you can do, which is basically a gust. If you like this build, please like and subscribe. Comment down below what you want to see next, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.